What is up, my bodyweight warriors, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over part 2 of this strength and flexibility series of routines. The first one we had was the lower body routine that was posted a couple of weeks ago, and I'll link in the description down below. As that hit 1,000 thumbs up, we're also here for part 2, which we're going to be covering the upper body. Today's video is going to be focused primarily around bodyweight training, as that is kind of what I do here on the channel. However, there will be weighted movements in it, which are going to complement some of the movements that we're trying to do with those end bodyweight goals. This routine is just an example, exact same as the first routine, so feel free to modify as you need to, but otherwise, let's jump straight into it. The first pairing, the A series, is going to be focused more around strength, and we're going to be looking at the two kind of kings when it comes to building strength with bodyweight training. The first exercise we're going to be looking at is the pike push-up. Now, this exercise is just kind of one of the foundations for building a good vertical press, a good handstand push-up. You're going to need to get lots and lots of volume in here, so it just makes sense to work on it. What we want to focus on with the pike push-up is the forward travel of the head. We don't want to think of this as much of a up and down motion. We want to think of this as a leaning forward as we descend into the pike push-up. We want to think about keeping those elbows vertical so we can impart more force through the ground and use some of those bigger muscles like the anterior delts and the chest. If you want more details about proper pike push-up form, then feel free to check out my full tutorial on progressions on the handstand push-up. If these are a little bit hard, we can elevate the hands, or if this is too easy, we can elevate the feet. We're going to perform this one with a tempo of 3-0-1-1, which means we're going to take 3 seconds down to the bottom, nice powerful push up, and then a 1 second pause in that stretch position, opening up the shoulders. And we're going to perform this for a total of 6 to 8 repetitions. So make sure you adjust that intensity as is needed for your strength. This is going to be paired with the second king of upper body movements, and that is the pull-up. But this time we're going to be doing a chin-up. We're actually going to be taking some advice from the prior video that I posted on this channel, which is to do with how to bust through plateaus of your pull-up. And we're going to be performing a pause chin-up. This one here, we're just going to be performing the standard chin-up position, except we're going to be adding a short 1 second pause in that top position. When performing this exercise, we want to think of this movement irradiating from the back out. So the first movement should be the pulling of the shoulders together, and then the arms will come into play as we get further on into the movement. When we get up to that top position, you want to think about trying to pull that sternum, that chest through the bar, driving the elbows back for that pause position, trying to get as high as you can, and then lowering back down under control. For this one here, if it's a little bit too challenging, just do a few less reps than you're currently doing, or if it is too easy, feel free to add weight. We're going to be performing this one with a tempo of 3-0-1-1, which means we're going to be using a nice powerful pull up, pause for a second, and then taking 3 seconds down to that bottom position. And we're going to perform for a total of, again, 6 to 8 repetitions. So those two exercises aren't necessarily around building flexibility, but they're going to build fundamentals of strength, which we're after for bodyweight training. You perform those two for around 4 to 5 sets. And then afterwards, we're going to move on to the next grouping of exercises, which is the ones that are focused on flexibility. The first pair we're going to be looking at is developing shoulder extension. This is the ability to lift our arms behind us, something that you'd see in the bottom of a dip position, for example. So the first exercise we're going to be using is a deep push-up. The push-up is a fantastic exercise, but the way that we can use it to develop more range of motion is by adding more range of motion. So we do this by elevating the hands. I think parallettes work quite nicely for this one, as it gives a better grip position on the wrist, so you won't necessarily limit how far you can go by your wrist flexibility, but more your shoulder flexibility. We're going to think of all the good form cues when it comes to the push-ups here. We're going to keep those elbows locked in closer to our sides. As we go down, we want to think about keeping those shoulder blades back and down. If we notice at any point that our shoulders begin to round, then we know we've pushed our range of motion as far as it can go, and we need to kind of limit ourselves there. But essentially, go down lower as deep as you can into the stretch. You're going to pause for a second in that stretch position and then press back up. If it is too easy for you, then we can use a pseudo planche push-up variation of this. So we're going to, instead of just going up and down like a normal push-up, we're going to add that planche lean to this one. And the degree that we lean will make things infinitely harder. So just start off a little bit and build yourself up. But the focus should still be on increasing that range of motion. We're going to be performing this one with a tempo of 3-1-1-0. So 3 seconds down, 1 second pause in the stretch, and then a nice powerful push back up. This exercise is going to be paired or supersetted with a fantastic exercise that you might not expect to develop shoulder extension, and that is the incline bicep curl. A great variation, along with a bunch of other variations that I do have in the app. Try if you are interested in this routine. We've got a lot of similar routines, as well as a whole host more for handstands, upper body strength and skills, lower body flexibility, for pancake, for everything. It's all in that app. If you want to go check it out, it'll be linked in the description down below. I highly appreciate the support and I hope it helps you out. This exercise works well because gravity assists us in letting our arms hang in extension, the range of motion that we're trying to develop. And then by doing the bicep curl, we're then learning how to use that range of motion in the same way as we are doing the deep range of motion push-ups. I'd recommend using as little as an incline as you can. You can go over a flat bench, 10 to 15, maybe 30 degrees will also work well. It will help develop the shoulder extension that we're after. Lie down flat on the bench, holding the dumbbells. You're going to supinate the hands so the palms face forward. You're going to pin those shoulder blades back and down, and then you're just going to let gravity do its work and pull the arms into extension. And then from here, you can perform just a standard bicep curl. And the tempo we're going to use for this one is a 2-0-1-1 tempo. So we're going to pull up, going to pause for a second in that top position, get a nice contraction of the bicep, and then take 2 seconds back down to a full straight arm lockout. And we should be feeling a decent stretch in that bottom position over the bicep and the shoulder. You're going to perform this one for 8 to 10 repetitions and kind of roughly supersetted with the first exercise, so you should get a pretty decent chest and bicep pump after this grouping. Now we move on to the final pairing, which is going to be focused a little bit more on overhead flexibility, and we're going to do this with the first exercise, which is a dumbbell lat pullover. Now this is an old school bodybuilding exercise, but it is fantastic for helping to open up the shoulders and also develop some thoracic extension, and also train the lats, triceps and serratus anterior, which is another important aspect of this. For this exercise, we're going to be using a horizontal bench setup. So this allows us to sink the hips down further and get a more extension and more focus on that flexibility component. Holding a relatively light dumbbell, this one doesn't have to be heavy. We're going to be doing a lot of reps. We're going to be doing a slow tempo. You'll find that less weight is probably still going to be quite challenging. We're going to place the edge of the bench just below our shoulder blades. We're going to lean on over into it. We're then going to lower the dumbbell and just let gravity do its work and pull us into that stretch position. As we go down into that stretch position, we're also going to try and think about sinking the hips a little bit to increase that level of stretch and also thoracic extension. If you're finding this a bit challenging, you don't have to drop the hips and you can also lower the weight. If you're loving it, then you can add some more weight as you feel that you can and is appropriate. We're going to use a tempo of 2-2-1-0, which means we're going to take 2 seconds to lower down. We're going to pause for 2 seconds in that stretch position, and then we're then going to lift back up to the top. I'm going to perform this for a total of 8 to 10 repetitions. Each time we're going to try and get a little bit more stretch out of this exercise. This exercise is going to be paired with the final exercise of the workout, and that is one of my all-time favorites for the rotator cuff, for shoulder flexibility, for stabilization, and that is the trap 3 raise. The trap 3 raise is fantastic for increasing overhead flexibility and stabilization. It's going to be useful for the press to handstand, for the handstand itself, and anything overhead really. You're not going to need a hugely heavy set of dumbbells for this, as tempo again is going to dictate a lot of stuff, and we want to try and maximize the height at which we can lift our hands, and if we use more weight, then we're going to reduce that focus on flexibility. Using a bench, seeing as we used a bench for the exercise prior, I would probably just set it to around 15 to 30 degrees of an incline. Holding the weights, you're just going to have thumbs facing forward, and then all you're going to do from here is you're going to try and lift those arms overhead at a roughly narrow wide position. So we don't want to be directly parallel, we don't want to be way out wide, we want to be somewhere in between, probably around 30 degrees from that midline. When you lift up, you're going to try and lift your hands as high as you can, really work on opening those shoulders, feel the traps, those muscles in the middle of your back really working hard. I'm going to hold that for 2 seconds. This should be challenging. Then you lower under control and you repeat. This is the reason that you don't need really heavy weights. You're going to perform this one with a tempo of 2-0-1-2, which means we lift up, we hold for 2 seconds, and then we lower over 2 seconds. Again, this one will be tough with not much weight. And that is basically what we work on. We've got core strength movements that help kind of strengthen those really critical elements of bodyweight training. And then we've then got 2 pairings focused on 1, shoulder extension, and 2 shoulder flexion, getting it overhead. And all round should give us a decent workout for improving strength and flexibility in the upper body. But that has basically been it for this week, guys. You asked for it, you requested it, you got it. I hope you enjoy this routine. I hope you enjoyed the prior routine. If you are going to give them a go, why not let me know in the comment section down below. If you just enjoyed this video, you know what to do. You can hit that thumbs up button and support the channel. Right next to it is that subscribe button as well. Going to join the Bodyweight Warrior tribe. But that's basically been it for this week, guys. I'll catch you in the next episode. Have a strong week and peace.